30 years of joyfulness. Good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. The news is live on Joy 99.7 FM, on Hits 103.9 FM here in Accra. We're also live on Love 99.5 in Kumasi, myjoyonline.com. We're live in all 16 regions via our various affiliates, live on X Spaces and Facebook. The Midday News is supported by Petrosol Platinum Energy, energizing dreams. Coming up, a cry for help. Government makes a desperate plea to retired nurses and midwives to step in and help alleviate the country's healthcare crisis as patients suffer and the healthcare system teeters on the brink.
Given the urgency of the situation and suffering of the patients, government appealed to public-spirited retired nurses and midwives to volunteer their services for a brief period pending the resolution of the impasse.
But the leadership of the striking nurses and midwives have fired back, revealing there's a deeper issue.
I will urge the finance minister respectfully to relook at the figures. What is it in the condition of service that will throw the budget of Ghana up? It cannot be said to be true. As far as we are concerned, I think that they need to come clean. They need to prioritize the help needs of the good people of Ghana.
Details as it also directs the Finance Ministry and Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to develop a roadmap for the implementation of reviewed conditions. Also coming up this afternoon, Parliament's Trade Committee summons Ghana Union of Traders, GUTA, spare part dealers and other agencies over refusal to reduce prices of goods and services despite the cedi appreciation and fall in fuel prices.
The Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism had called for this meeting to inquire into why businesses and service providers are reluctant to reduce their prices, the impact on the economy, and the way forward.
We'll take you live to Parliament for what justification the traders are giving to the committee. Also in the bulletin, we'll tell you the story of a 10-year-old who serves as a bridge between her hearing-impaired parents and the hearing world.
Almost the whole family is deaf. So, and when my mother gave birth to me, my father's family asked my father and my mother that can I speak. Because of that, my mother became worried, and so she took me to the hospital. And then the doctor said I'm not deaf.
We'll bring you details in our Disabled series coming up in sports.
Claudia Ranieri has turned down the opportunity to succeed Luciano Spalletti as Italy's national team coach. We'll tell you why.
Wow, we'll wait for details of that and these and more with me, Maame, Nyamekye, Thompson. This is Joy News, independent, fearless and credible. Stay for details. And this afternoon, government has issued a desperate plea to retired nurses and midwives, urging them to step in and help alleviate the country's healthcare crisis. The appeal follows a collapse in yesterday's emergency talks with the health ministry after leadership of the striking nurses and midwives flatly rejected government's request to defer their new conditions of service to 2026. The GRNMA have withdrawn all services at public health facilities, demanding for the implementation of their review of their reviewed conditions of service, which was due implementation in July 2025. Speaking at a press briefing at the presidency, Health Minister Kwabena Minta-Kando announced that the government will soon publish a list of health facilities where it has secured the services of available healthcare professionals as it prepares to roll out emergency services or measures to mitigate the growing crisis.
While working around the clock to resolve the impasse, the Ministry of Health has taken the following steps to mitigate the suffering of Ghanaian patients unduly affected by the strike. The Ministry will, in the next few minutes, publish a comprehensive list of facilities to complement facilities where nursing services are lacking and where patients can seek health care. Given the urgency of the situation and suffering of the patients, government appeals to public-spirited retired nurses and midwives to volunteer their services for a brief period pending the resolution of the impasse. We further express our deep appreciation to practicing nurses who have opted to remain at post to help suffering patients and urge others to show similar fellow feeling and assist our ailing compatriots even as efforts are made to address their concerns.
Well, the Health Minister further stated the government has directed the Finance Ministry and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to develop a roadmap to ensure the implementation of the reviewed conditions.
Government remains committed to the needed engagement that will lead to the approval and implementation of the new conditions of service for nurses and midwives. Accordingly, government has directed the Ministry of Finance and the Fair Wages and Salary Commission to, as a matter of urgency, lead the development of a roadmap to ensure a smooth implementation of the process. We engage the leadership of all Nurses and Midwives Association within the health sector on 30th May 2025 to address their challenges and discuss the subsequent roadmap leading to the implementation of the new conditions of service. Fortunately, the other associations supported my intervention, with the exception of the GRNMA, which declined and proceeded to declare the strike on the 2nd of June 2025, despite the NLC caution.
Meanwhile, Deputy Finance Minister Thomas Nyako Ampem also addressing the media appeal to the GRNMA to accept the proposed roadmap, warning that immediate implementation of the revised conditions of service could pose significant risks to the national budget.
But the reality is that we have over 120,000 nurses, and the implementation of the current condition of service that they are demanding will have serious consequences for the budget. In fact, if we fully implement it, we are going to add in excess of 2 billion cedis to the compensation budget. We have all committed that in our resolve to reset the economy of this country, we must maintain a 1.5% primary balance surplus every year in order to bring our debt levels to sustainable levels. And so it is important for us to manage expenditure.
However, the striking nurses' leadership has fired back, revealing a deeper issue. General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, Dr. David Tinkran, said many retired nurses are impoverished and harboring anger due to unfulfilled promises. He spoke to me on News Desk.
I don't think this is a very good position. I will urge the finance minister respectfully to relook at the figures. What is it in the condition of service that will throw the budget of Ghana off jail? It cannot be said to be true. As far as we are concerned, I think that they need to come clean. They need to prioritize the health needs of the good people of Ghana. They need to prioritize the economic interests and economic welfare of nurses and midwives. And I've been told that one of the mitigating factors is to deploy retired nurses and midwives. They are more even angry than us. What they don't know is that the retired nurses and midwives feel that they've been let down by the state. Okay, I visit them from time to time, not just individuals, but if, for instance, I can show you a place that they meet every last Tuesday of every month. They meet at Christ the King. Go there and talk to the retired nurses and midwives. Some of them have been affected with occupational related ailments, disease conditions that they got whilst working as nurses and midwives. And they are at home, and their retirement package cannot even buy them the little medications that they need to.
And you heard David Tinkran, or Dr. David Tinkran. He's the General Secretary of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association. And joining me on the phone lines is first Vice President of the same association, Samuel Akulo. And let's get his reactions to what the Minister of Health has been saying earlier on. Mr. Akulo, you're welcome to the Midday News this afternoon. Now, government has directed the Finance Ministry and the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission to develop a roadmap for the implementation of the review of the conditions, even though it cannot be done this year. What's your reaction to this?
Thank you very much, my sister and your cherished listeners. That is what they have been telling us over the period, to roll out a roadmap for the implementation of the conditions of service. The conditions of service is already negotiated for. So what are we going to negotiate again?
And so
What the minister is saying is that let's use some of these gimmicks to confuse the public so that they can be seen to be doing something positive towards the resolution of the impasse. But you will realize that there is no way the Ghanaian nurse and midwife will accept any arrangement that is proposing that it should be paid next year. That is what they tabled yesterday, and we rejected it. We gave our counter proposal. They said that didn't sit well for them. So, for these assurances, it's just to create an impression that government is not sitting aloof to dealing with the issue, but they are using serious measures to ensure that the problem is solved.
So what will
But
be what will be your way forward in this situation?
Our way forward, we are still engaging among our structures, because the GRNM, we have the national executive, the national council, and then we have the district executives. So we are still conferring with one another, and then to see the way forward, and also prepare ourselves in readiness to receive better news than what they are telling us now.
All right, we're grateful for your time, Mr. Samuel Akulo. He is the first vice president of the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwifery Association. But the situation is getting out of hand at various public health facilities, with patients looking for other alternatives. My colleague Clinton Yaba has been engaging some patients at the Konfanochi Teaching Hospital.
But I enjoy my Fiesca and Salai, how much 5 o'clock number. I mean, Salai, I'm my real so. I'm my own country as a young coffee in the area. And to say about be a cool, what to your 2 years come on my receipt. Lucky, some a call, maybe a shank or lank to a primi phone.
They should have communicated to us before letting us get here and sending us back. Since 5 a.m., I've spent the whole of my day here just to access healthcare. After seeing the doctor and paying all my bills, now they are telling me to go home. Government should really look into how it treats nurses and teachers. It seems they are always neglected.
The neighbor doctor or problem 1 a.m. The neighbor doctor ne. Last week your doctor said name fanamra and I will didn't buy I basa
to come for like a scan or something for her abdominal scan. But we went to the scan section and they said that the nurses are on strike, so we can't do. So we have to go back.
Well, Clinton Yaba joins me on the line with more. Clinton, we understand some training nurses are going through some challenges. Tell us about it.
Well, Maame, the emptiness, the lack of order from the industrial action have extended from the hospital to the nursing colleges across the region. And when it comes to the commercial nursing and midwifery training college, you'll be met with situations. Either the classrooms are empty or very rowdy where students are sitting without any purpose. Now, the students are engaged, disclose that their half semester exams is due next week. And so they were expecting that their tutors, who are also nurses and midwives, will be in class to teach for the revision. However, they came to class sitting for hours and no one attended to them. I think now we can listen to what they say as they describe their confusion. They are very wary of the situation, and they somehow describe pursuing nursing as a career one that we find very unfavorable.
This strike is having a lot of impacts. Like the disadvantages of it is very high because we are writing midterm, I think, next week, and then our tutors were supposed to be in class this week to take us through some of the subjects, but we've been in class since morning and no teacher has been around. We are just here. We don't know what to do. We don't know whether to go home or what. Because being in school without a teacher coming to the class or something is something else. Though we can study on our own, but that one will be different from a teacher being in front of us and directing us.
If at the end of the day I'm working and I'm not getting any salary, it's not going to motivate me as a student to give out my best or learn hard in order for the government to post me. So it's really very appalling for them to not satisfy their needs.
And that's the latest from the Ashanti region on the nurses' strike. Still on health, Ghana has recorded 39 new mpox cases, bringing our total case count to 79. The Ghana Health Service says the recent rise in cases is due to stronger surveillance, such as contact tracing and increased public awareness, helping detect and isolate cases faster. And if you go onto the Ghana Health Service website, the cases, new confirmed cases, are 34, and those on admission are 4, and there are no deaths, and there the total number of cases are 79. Moving on, the Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism has summoned the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, Association of Ghana Industries, Spare Part Dealers Association, and other industry players over their refusal to reduce prices of goods and services. There's been growing calls for traders to reduce prices in the face of appreciation of the Ghana cedi and the reduction of fuel prices. But the traders maintain they are not ready to cut prices anytime soon until they finish dealing with the current stock. Parliament has, however, summoned them over the entrenched position. Here's Committee Chairman Alexander Gabi Hotoje.
I must admit that there had been price reduction in some quarters, but these do not commensurate with the impact of the appreciation of the cedi vis-a-vis when the cedi depreciated. The Committee on Trade, Industry and Tourism had called for this meeting to inquire into why businesses and service providers are reluctant to reduce their prices, the impact on the economy, and the way forward. We have assembled here most of the relevant stakeholders who would assist the committee to deliberate on the matter. I urge each one of us, to be frank with each other towards achieving the expectations of the Ghanaian consumer. If we disappoint them today, they may resort to other alternatives that may adversely affect the growth of the fragile local industry which we have so far.
And in Parliament is James Avaji giving us the very latest. James, which of the associations appeared before the committee and what justifications did they give?
Maame, so the Ghana Union of Traders Association, GUTA, as well as the spare part dealers have so far had their turn before the committee. Sitting before the committee now is the AGI. The spare part dealers, for instance, have noted a number of challenges for which they are a bit hesitant to reduce prices as customers are demanding. They talk about the current lending rate from the various banks, which they say is still not decreasing, hovering between some 30-35% of loans, for which reason is affecting their businesses. They also talk about the rather increasing charges at the port. They said that, for instance, for the shipping lines at the port are using a different exchange rate, relatively higher than what the BOG gives for the cedi to dollar exchange rate. All of that affecting their import of the spare parts compared to our competitors in the other countries around us. But generally, GUTA and AGI have noted that they have relatively reduced the prices, and so customers to feel the full effect in the next coming days or weeks.
All right, James, thank you very much for that update from Parliament. Moving on, legal practitioner Martin People has weighed in on Ken Ofori-Atta's family claim that the former finance minister is being persecuted by the Office of the Special Prosecutor. He noted that while the claim lacks strong legal grounding, it is not entirely unreasonable given the OSP's refusal to engage with Mr. Ofori-Atta's alleged offer of cooperation from abroad. Mr. People argued that the OSP could have used legal tools like the mutual legal assistance to maintain due process and weaken the perception of persecution. He also said that on the issue of Interpol red notice issued against Mr. Ofori-Atta, the wanted man's failure to be candid with the Office of the Special Prosecutor unequivocally justifies his placement on the international fugitive list.
A very big gap, right, within Ofori-Atta's own defense is the fact that he made out the March 20th, 21 medical appointment as a big surgery, which requires so much attention. And so OSP even gave him more time after the surgery. They themselves in their letter acknowledged that OSP had been generous or they had overindulged them. They were very happy because he had given more, far more than they anticipated. So they cannot come back now to cry foul. No. So the Commission for the Control of Interpol Files, yes, it's an independent body, okay, but within Interpol, right? But they also use discretion. And when you are exercising a discretion, what do you look at? You look at all the facts. So it's not as if it's just a one-way traffic that you just go and complain that this and this and this mean that Interpol didn't do the right thing. No. Very, very key in Ofori-Atta's defense is that failure to be candid with the OSP, that he was going for a diagnostic procedure. This second one, the way Ofori-Atta is behaving, he deserves to be there.
Lawyer Martin People is a private legal practitioner. You're still listening to the Midday News here on Joe 99.7 FM. We'll take a break. When we return, we have sports. And also in the bulletin, we'll tell you the story of a 10-year-old who serves as a bridge between her hearing-impaired parents and the hearing world.
Almost the whole family is deaf. So, and when my mother gave birth to me, my father's family asked my father and my mother that can I speak. Because of that, my mother became worried. And so she took me to the hospital. And then the doctor said, I'm not deaf.
When budgets are tight and money difficult to come by, you want to be sure you get the best value for your money. These are not times to be spending money fixing expensive engine problems because of cheap fuel and lubricants. Drive to a petrol source station today and buy your quality fuel and lubricants, and rest assured of fuel that lasts long and lubricants that prevent expensive engine problems. Hear the sound. Petrosol, clean fuel in full quantity.
When I wake up in the morning, I brush my teeth with Kale Charcoal toothpaste. This gives me confidence all day.
Anytime you meet Amma, don't be surprised I smile showing my beautiful white teeth because I don't have cavity thanks to Kale Charcoal toothpaste for its natural charcoal properties. In fact, we are like twins. I can't go without my Kale Charcoal toothpaste.
That be why I dey use Kale Charcoal toothpaste morning and night when I dey go bed safe. It dey make my teeth white when it dey comot every scent from my mouth inside. My confidence level they go up, so I dey show my 32 teeth all.
Introducing the Kale Charcoal toothpaste, formulated with activated bamboo charcoal powder, ensures whiter teeth and removes bad breath. The strong natural property of the activated bamboo charcoal removes bacteria, absorbs surface stains on our teeth caused by coffee, wines, and tobacco. Welcome, Kale Charcoal toothpaste. Kale Charcoal toothpaste, Sankofa Yenchi.
Kale, happy smile.
This advert is FDA approved.
Welcome back to the Midday News. We have sports.
Claudio Ranieri has turned down the chance to succeed Luciano Spalletti as Italy's national team coach. Spalletti said on Sunday that he had been sacked as head coach ahead of the 2026 World Cup following a 3-0 defeat to Norway on Friday, which was their first qualification match for the tournament. The 26-year-old had replaced Roberto Mancini in August 2023, but things have not worked out, and Ranieri was offered the chance to take on the role, which would have been a 25th job of his career, but instead has chosen to stay at AS Roma as an executive position above new coach Gianpiero Gasperini after a successful temporary period in charge of the team.
Thank you very much. And 3 major university unions, TUTAG, UTAG and CTAG, have this afternoon expressed frustration over what they call government's undue delay in implementing the agreed exchange rate benchmark and releasing funds for book and research allowances and salary top-ups. The unions say the delays are affecting their members' welfare and academic work. In a joint letter dated 9 June, the unions charged government to provide immediate interventions to avoid disruption to the academic calendar. And my colleague Edem Kojo joins me with details of that letter. Edem, what does it say?
It says, as a joint meeting held on June 8, 2025, we, the undersigned unions, unanimously resolved that the government must, as a matter of urgency, release the exchange rate and commence the payment process for the book and research allowance to our members. We hereby notify all stakeholders that if government fails to commence the payment process by the 13th of June 2025, this will be considered a strike notice by UTAG, TUTAG and CTAG across all campuses to the government.
Thank you so much, Adam. And imagine being born to parents with hearing impairment and having to be that bridge between the hearing and the silent worlds. That's the story of 10-year-old Regina Osei, who helps her parents communicate with others every day. Collins Rimpon shares the story of this girl in this feature read to you.
It's Sunday morning here in Accra. The Osei family is preparing for church. But this is no ordinary family. 10-year-old Regina Osei is their bridge, a bridge between two worlds. Regina's parents are both deaf. When she was born, Regina only knew their silent world, sign language, the only language spoken in their home.
My grandmother was the one who trained me how to speak, because I don't see them speaking. They were only doing the sign language because I saw them doing that, so I didn't speak again.
For 2 years, Regina lived in a world without spoken words, learning to understand and speak only through her parents' signs. But as she grew, Regina's world expanded.
She wants me to become an interpreter for the whole nation.
It was only when Regina making sounds with her grandparents that her parents realized she could hear and speak. Relief and hope filled their hearts. Hope that their daughter would be their voice to the world.
They were thinking that I'll become deaf because almost the whole family is deaf. So, and when my mother gave birth to me, my father's family asked my father and my mother that can I speak. Because of that, my mother became worried, and so she took me to the hospital. And then the doctor said, I'm not deaf, I can speak.
Regina has embraced this role with pride. When communication becomes difficult, at the hospital or in public, Regina steps in, interpreting for her parents and others in the deaf community.
They always shows me alphabet, pictures and phonics. So because of that, I was able to translate.
But Regina's path hasn't always been easy. At school, she faces isolation and misunderstanding.
I feel happy sometimes, and sometimes I feel sad because people always say that my parents are poor and I don't have phone. Because I don't have phone and tablet, so my parents are poor.
Despite the challenges, Regina's heart is full of hope.
I wish my parents to buy me something like tablets and phone, so that, and also make me to finish school and let me to continue school so that I'll be the better person in the future.
Collins' report for Disabled series taking us to what's trending, and I have Jackie and Adobia in the studio. How are you girls?
Yeah, we're fine.
I'm good. I'm good.
I'll start. So
looks like we are in black.
I know, right?
We're not too happy. A lot is going on, Charlie.
Okay, black is confident for me.
I know, right?
I'm sorry. So GRNMA is trending. You know, the health minister some minutes ago appealed to retired nurses and midwives to come and volunteer, and so many people are reacting to it. So GH Seonapo says the retired nurses and midwives are battling various sicknesses due to poor conditions of service during their active years. What exactly should they come and do? Newsflash, they are all part of GRNMA. Why? And the next person, which is Steven, says you're calling for retired nurses when you have high-spirited unemployed nurses. Sometimes you people should know that you have to say, hey, no, I can't say this. I'm sorry, but that's it.
Yes, well, so people are still talking about that, but then moving away, the biggest story today, BET, our very own Ghanaian musician Molly is the first Ghanaian, to perform at the pre-show of the BET Awards. Let's listen to some highlights of the show.
Go on, bend your knees, baby, shake it to the max. With the DJ, please turn up the bass to the max. Please just rewind.
Yeah, so what you just heard was sounds from the BET show, and a lot of people have been talking about it, congratulating her on social media. It's a good win for Ghana, even though Black Sharif missed out on his award, but we wish him all the best too.
We wish her all the best, and congratulations to Molly. And that's how we come to the end of this afternoon's bulletin here on Joy 99.7 FM. I am Nyamekye. Thompson. Up next is Living Word with Pastor